Welcome back to another amazing episode of LaQuita's Toolbox Live. I am your host, LaQuita Mondley. And guys, it is an absolutely amazing, thankful Thursday. I am so glad to be here, and I am absolutely excited that you all are here to join me again on this live LinkedIn and YouTube conversation. And today, like all other days, we have an amazing guest. And our guest today has done some wonderful things in several different industries, and not to even mention doing a TED talk as well. So for all of my returning Toolbox listeners and viewers, you guys know the drill. Get something to write with and something to write on, because you don't want to miss all of the gems that Mr. Todd Krause is going to be giving us on today. And if this is your first time joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. Go ahead and hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons so that you don't miss out on any of the amazing episodes of LaQuita's Toolbox Live that come to you every Thursday right here on LinkedIn and on our YouTube family. You guys, listen, sit back, relax, and let's enjoy this conversation with Mr. Todd Krause. Todd, how are you today? Come on in the room.
LaQuita, thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm doing
Oh,
great.
it is a pleasure. Wonderful, wonderful. So, listen, guys, if you have not been paying attention to our social media, make sure to continue to pay attention to our social media so that you can see when audio episodes are dropped on Tuesdays, every Tuesday, so that you don't miss that audio episode. But today, we're going to continue that conversation, because that indeed was a great conversation that we were having in the audio podcast. And you just really gave us a lot of gems. If I remember correctly, one of my biggest takeaways from that conversation was how the changing of culture is one of the main tools that you use in order to grow your business. And so before we get into that and expound on that some more, Todd, please introduce yourself to the LaQuita's Toolbox Live audience. Let them know who you are and all of the wonderful things that you're doing.
Well, my name's Todd Krause. Currently, I am growing my public speaking business and my consulting practice under the brand of silversunconsulting.com. That's SUN for sun. I also happen to own a large cleaning company, which I tripled in size in just a handful of years. And th- that was largely due to cultural shifts that really brought out the best in all of the people working there and just made it the amazing company that it is. Actually, we won a couple of awards. One was from the International Franchise Association for the cultural changes there. And then one franchisee of the year again from the franchisor, the authority brands. Prior to doing that, I'd actually spent many years, 30 years approximately, in alternative investments. And think hedge funds, private equity, venture capital, all those words. But I was operational accounting and finance. That meant I set up the operations. I put everything together that made them run. And when they weren't needed, I shut them down and liquidated the assets. So I had my hands in many different businesses along the way. And it really gave me some amazing insights into what makes a business really flourish compared to a business that just gets by and succeeds. And they grow some, but they have turnover, they have some other challenges that they face. And that's where I really came back to culture as the focus to really wrap around all your tools, technology, and infrastructure.
That's so wonderful, especially in this AI driven age that we're rapidly moving into. Uh, that's the number one thing that we hear in well, I would say within social media, even in in the relevant blogs and on LinkedIn, even that AI, which is a tool, is the wave of the future, and it is. We're not arguing that, but your success wasn't AI wasn't or the other tools that you had access to. They were Extremely important, extremely, extremely important. Learning how to use those tools and manage those tools, extremely important. But what I hear you saying here is people management was the most important piece. If I can use the term people management, the culture of your um, workplace was the key to your growth, and that's amazing.
It really was the factor that put us over the top.
Mm,
The business already was growing and was successful. That's what attracted me to it. What I discovered is that the culture inside the walls of the business were toxic, to be honest.
mm, mm,
Customer turnover was high, clean over turnover was high, morale was somewhere out back in the dumpster. But when we started to recognize the people as real human beings and that we
mhm,
hire the entire person, and that
mhm,
means they come with family and they come with cars that break down and they get sick and their children get sick. When we understood and gave them the space that they needed to care for themselves and their families, the thing that happened is they brought their heart and soul to work. And the work they
yes,
did was just so much better. So, what I'm saying, and you're absolutely right. We use all the tools and technology available to us in our
mhm,
industries.
mhm,
It's key. You have to
yeah,
use it.
yeah,
But the
it
unfair advantage that you can have if you recognize your people is to wrap this culture all
mm,
the way around your tools and technology. Today
oh,
in the
that's real
AI
good.
world, we're barely connected with each other. And that
Mm.
connection is really something that drives a company forward.
That I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that conversation alone could take up 2, 3, 4, 5 podcasts, even, um, because we can't forget the key component, and that's the people who are actually doing the work. And something so lovely that you said, you understood that you hire the person, but that person comes with a family. Like that person is a whole person, and recognizing them and appreciating them and valuing them as a person was a key. And so let me ask you this: is this how you came up with the thriving workplace framework? You created the thriving workplace framework, which you use to turn struggling operations into profit machines. So, for our business owners that are listening who feel stuck in daily the fight or flight mode, can you walk us through the core pillars of this framework and why it works?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have to give credit to my TEDx coach who helped me find the right words.
Mm,
And as we're putting together my TEDx speech, we narrowed it down to caring, positive, and culturally competent. So, what does each of those mean? The caring part is starts with recognizing that we are hiring the entire person. And people come with their own set of challenges. They have their own problems. But when we give them the space to take care of those problems and to deal with family illnesses and car breakdowns, what you would get back in return is so much more than an employee who just, I got to go to work. I need a paycheck. I have bills to pay. Positive. That's what happens inside the walls of the business. And
yes.
those walls are bigger than the physical walls that the business sits in. They're the walls around everything we do and all the people that we work with. And just taking the negative out because we live in a
Mm,
world that says don't and no. And
yeah.
if you do that, there's consequences. So what I
Right.
said to my managers is stop. Don't do that. Stop saying no. Stop saying don't. Tell them what we want.
Mm,
Tell them
that's
what the
good.
customer asked for. And then show them what the rewards are for delivering that. What an
Those
amazing
rewards.
the rewards, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we're gonna get back to the because he has some awesome awards, y'all. Like. I just want you guys to know. Listen, if you're just tuning in for the first time to LaQuita's Toolbox Live, don't go anywhere. This is the place that you want to be. This is the place that you need to be. And Ted, not Ted. Now I'm calling you Ted because I'm thinking TED Talk. Brain moving faster than my mouth. But listen, y'all, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back after this quick commercial break. And Todd and I are going to continue to have this conversation, especially about his reward system. You guys don't want to miss this. Business owners, you don't want to miss this. We'll be right back.
Tired of searching for something good to watch and coming up empty? What if everything you've watched actually poured into you? Welcome to the Purpose Place Network, where every show is designed to uplift, inspire, and empower you and your family. From real conversations to real growth, this is content with purpose. The Purpose Place Network. Watch with purpose.
All right, all right. Listen, if you've just joining us during that commercial break, I'm LaQuita Monley, your host. We have with us today for a great conversation, Mr. Todd Krause. And we've been digging into, or I don't want to say digging into, I have been personally taking notes on how to help my business grow and scale by doing what should be a simple truth to many, but it seems to be like this biggest puzzle simply by learning to treat my people right, learning to treat your team members, your coworkers, those are around you, those that are above you, in management, treating them like the people that they are and they deserve to be treated, and doing not just this one thing, but many things. And this is what was at the forefront, um, and driving force for Todd. It is treating people right, and it took his business from good to great. It saw exponential growth in a very short amount of time. And he's walking with us. He's walking us through just how he did that. And before he left, we were talking about, before we went to the commercial break, we were talking about his thriving workplace framework. And so, Todd, if you don't mind, as a quick rewind for those that may be just joining us, give us again what those three pillars are to your thriving workplace framework.
Sure. The first one is creating a caring workplace. The second one is creating a positive workplace. And the third one is a workplace that's culturally competent. So as we mentioned earlier, caring is it's showing that you care about them, the people that you work with and the people that you service as complete human beings. And you see them. That is an area that many of our businesses could do better in, and it would certainly do a lot for how people feel about coming to work. The second one was making it positive, telling them what you need from them, telling them what the customer and the client ask for, showing them the rewards for delivering that. Instead of always saying, no, don't do this, here's the consequences, take that language out, flip it around 180 degrees, and tell them what you do want. And then the third one is culturally competent workplace. In my cleaning company, we happen to employ 60 people from 14 different Central and South American countries. But in any company, no matter how culturally diverse or not diverse they are, there still is a culture within the walls of the company. So culture is not only where people come from and what their native languages were, but it's who they are and what they really present themselves as. Somebody from the Midwest is different from somebody from New England or somebody from California. And what we did is we simply wrapped our arms around all of this and said, we all come from somewhere. We all bring a history with us. It's valuable. We recognize it. We want to honor it. In our case, because we had different nationalities, we put the flags up in the entranceway. It looks like the United Nations in the entranceway. But even if you aren't diverse in that way, you're diverse in where people come from and what their backgrounds are. It's it ties back into the caring and seeing them as a real human being. It
Right,
does
right,
so much to boost the performance.
right. When we are the cliche saying, happy wife, happy life. I'm a wife, so I may agree with that a little bit more than my husband will want me to, but that's what I think about when when we had our initial conversation, even now, in creating and cultivating a workplace environment that people, your team was happy to come to, that provoke them into being better at their jobs. And not just because you said you have to be better, but because I want to be better because I'm in a place where I feel valued, seen, heard, loved, respected. So I'm going to do my very best to continue that. And before we left for the break, you had mentioned a little bit about this reward system that you have that business owners, y'all got to hear this. Like his reward system is pretty good.
Here,
Like good is probably not the right word I should use, but go ahead and talk to us about that because you were seeing like the place was toxic when you purchased it, when you came on board, and you this
correct.
is one of the additional tools that you use to cleanse the toxicity out of the environment.
When we put this in place, things changed in 6 to 8 weeks. All it took was the first cleaner to actually have money in hand. And the word spread like wildfire through the staff. And then suddenly everybody was on board. We did have to get through that initial skepticism where the cleaners weren't sure if we meant what we were saying. But it started out as when our customers click the button on our app and tell us that we did a good job. $10 more on your next paycheck. If those same customers go to Google and tell the world we did a good job, $15 more on your paycheck. What it did is it brought alignment. If you think of customers at the very top, owners, managers, staff, it brought alignment in what the customers asked for and what the cleaners were delivering. Imperfect alignment, I admit, but it brought actual alignment because when they deliver what the customers want, they increase their paychecks. People who scrub toilets for a living do not earn a lot of money. $500 to $700 in the area we live is a typical weekly paycheck. When they're cleaning for 15 or so, maybe upwards of 20 customers a week, if 3 or 4 of them are giving them good job ratings and positive Google reviews, that can add $100 to their paycheck. That is seriously life-changing money for people in that position. Initially, when I told other people about it, they said, "Oh my God, that's going to be so expensive." It's turned out it's not. It's actually made our revenue grow faster and our operating expenses have dropped because we're keeping our people. They're seasoned. They know what they're doing. They move through the work that they do faster. They don't miss things. They don't break things. So really, we just always look for how can we connect what we need to deliver to our customers to the rewards. It gives them control over their paycheck. And that's who somebody who's a worker bee is huge to have that some degree of control over the size of their own paycheck from week to week.
From week to week. That's amazing. I mean, these are things like the wisdom in that. These incentives like the Google reviews we'll sit there because as a business owner, Google reviews are invaluable. And now instead of I remember working in a call center and them telling us, the leadership telling us, well, you got to get the people to do the surveys. You got to get the people to do the surveys. That's the last thing in the world I wanted. But if I didn't get the people to do the surveys, I would get a ding. So I asked the question like once to say I did it and not press it. But now the incentive behind doing it it helps the company all the way around. Like that's a absolute no-brainer. Listen, guys, as business owners, I want you guys to take the moment right now and get in the comments. Let us know what you think about Todd's incentive programs. And if you guys have some incentive programs that you know are absolutely awesome and are winning for you, I'd like to hear about those in the comments. Share with us, join the conversation. Let us know what you think about the conversation so far and how those incentives can help you build your business, build your brand. And so, Todd, you have this great incentive program. You foster this amazing uh, culture through your thriving workplace framework. And it to me that sounds like those things are have cultivated an ownership mentality in your team members. A lot of leaders say culture matters, but it's just cliche to them. But for you, you actually make culture your competitive advantage. I've been amazed to learn that, under your leadership, your entry level cleaners have grown into assistant managers and even part time owners. How do you build that level of deep loyalty and ownership in an industry that, as you said, even at the top of the conversation, is notoriously plagued by high turnovers?
It really was through all the changes that we made and how we communicated with the people internally. And I say we because at first I had to change my manager's mindset so that they, as they talked to the staff on a daily basis, could convey my message to the staff. And we showed up for the staff when they needed help. We'd go out and we'd change tires when their tires were flat. We'd drive them from one location to the next if their car broke down so they could continue earning money. We'd show up on the job site and just give them coffees, buy them lunches. We showed them it from the heart. We really cared. We put our money where our mouth is. Because in the world we live in, there's a lot of talk. But it means something when you put something behind it, something tangible that helps them and makes their life better.
So,
By
did I hear you
eliminating,
say you changed tires?
yeah, we would go out and change tires. We would push their cars out of the ditch when they slid in the ditch on an icy or snowy day. We'd help them clean if they were getting behind on schedule.
Wow.
That stuff, that rolling up our sleeves and willing to get dirty next to
Yeah.
them,
Yes.
it did so much to show them that we really cared.
You know, I don't know how my husband it would have been joyous. It would have been thankful, but just, extending down into their family. Um, this is my assumption because we've never talked about this. I'm assuming the majority of your workforce is female.
Correct. And
And
that's typical in the cleaning industry.
right. And so to have a husband be at work and the wife say, I got a flat. And roadside said it's gonna be 2 hours before they can get to me. And then for her to call back and say, and the husband's like, "Oh, I can't get off. What are we gonna do?" And she called back and said, "Don't worry about it. The owner of the business and my manager came and changed my tire." I think my husband would pause for a long time and say, "What? Are you serious? You're not in trouble?" "No, I'm not in trouble. They fixed my tire and I'm going on my way. And they bought me lunch. I got a coffee." And so, yeah, I would think I would clean anything you asked me to clean that day or whatever my job position may have been. That is so amazing, y'all. Again, family, get in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Has anyone at any time at any job, your supervisor and the owner of the company you were working for came out to help you in a situation like that? I know like Todd is not singular in it, but it is a rarity. I will say this is the only time I've ever heard of an owner coming to change a tire. Would that make you feel, as someone who's co-laboring with a company to how would that make you feel? Like, that just made me smile, and it didn't even happen to me, and it made me smile. Todd, those are some awesome things. That's truly how I see, I mean, the things that you said so far. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Cultivating an ownership mentality to the point where your assistant, where they said, okay, I want to grow in this company and go from being on the floors, if I can use that, being out, doing the work, to being assistant managers and to being part-time owners. You've really brought them into ownership. Um, and that has to be, again, like 2 and 3 other keys to the growth and success of your company, that your team knows that I play a really big part in this. I'm significant in this, to the point where assistant manager, part owners. That's wow. That's wow.
It's, I mean, it is really what you said. It's our unfair advantage.
Mm,
Yes, we have all the tools and technology that our competitors have, and we use them, and we're always looking
mhm,
for better.
mhm.
But we have wrapped around it a staff that is happy to come to the office. They care, they bring their heart, and it shows up in their work. It's
Right. All right.
it's to give a very simple example that I think people can understand quickly. It's the difference between a plumber who's like, I'm just showing up the job and you got to fix something down in your utility room. It's not working in your house. And they leave footprints and yes, they fixed the problem. The problem's gone, but the area that they repaired is kind of messy. There's some little pieces left lying around. And guess who's cleaning it up? You are. Or the plumber who comes to the house and they're dressed smartly in their uniform. The first thing they do before they step in the house is shoe covers. And then they're very careful to not make any footprints anywhere in your house. And they fix the problem. They clean up all the little bits and pieces. They actually clean the area that they were working in. It sparkles more than it ever did before. And when they leave, your house is actually cleaner and everything works. They brought their heart. They cared about the
Yes.
quality of the work they did.
Yes.
That becomes
Yes.
your unfair advantage when you can pull that caring out of your staff and pass
Mhm.
it on to your clients and your customers.
Wow. That so that is definitely a competitive advantage. And I know, one of the things that we've previously discussed, and as I was, you know, learning more about you and the company, I know that one of your core business philosophies is stop discounting, but compete on value. That's amazing. Stop discounting and compete on value for the service-based entrepreneur. And if you're listening to us right now on the audio, or if you're watching us live on LinkedIn, excuse me, and YouTube, you know, I guess the question is, are you terrified of losing clients? And this is the question to the audience. Are you terrified of losing clients if you raise your prices? And with what Todd is teaching us today, the answer should be no. You shouldn't be terrified of losing clients if you raise your prices, because that is if your value is that, they're going to pay it if you treat them right. So Todd, can you explain a little bit more about that, where you're saying stop discounting and compete on value?
When I bought the business and did a market study after purchasing it, we were under market by a lot. I'm sure that's how the prior owner grew the business to the size it was when I bought it. So we began raising prices but first we had to decide who we were and what we did. And we knew we weren't a white glove cleaning service. And we knew we weren't the cleaning lady either. We were in the middle. So I purposefully picked this place in the market of being a good value for the money you spent. And our competitors are around us or maybe a little bit above us in price. Combine that with consistent quality and good customer service. That's how we keep the customers that we have. And in talking about customers, a lot of people don't stop to think about how there are customers that are right for you and your business, and there are customers who just aren't right for you and your business. So who might not be right? Using my business as an example, it's the ones who are up here and want the white glove service and want to pay the premium prices for somebody who comes in and polishes everything. Our bread and butter is the family of four. Mom and dad work. There's a couple of kids going to school involved in a whole bunch of extracurricular activities. Mom and dad are driving every which way every day of the week, and they just want a clean house. They live in a 3 or 4 bedroom house, typically on the outer edges of the city or suburban. They have a puppy dog and a kitty cat. It's 1.5, 2.5 bathrooms, and we can knock those out like clockwork out all day long, every day, and do a great job on them. We also know that we're not the bargain service either. So somebody who wants cheap, 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 cheap is not really where we're at as a business either. Sometimes you're better off to pass up on a customer who could otherwise end up being a pain in the butt, demanding endless things from you to the point where they're just soaking up your resources and they're not even profitable. You have to look at who you can service well, and be profitable while you service them.
That's so good. Every customer is not your customer. That's a life lesson right there, people. That is a life lesson. And so what I hear Todd teaching right now in this moment, and I hope you guys that are listening are hearing this too, is we have to confidently position ourselves um, as the premium brand that we consider ourselves to be for our target audience. Understanding who our ideal client is and position ourselves as such. And a part of that positioning is the cost of our services. And so, you know, uh, with your CPA background, uh, you talk a um, you talk a lot about the importance of line of sight financial control. And so, I guess this is going to be a two-part question. Does that lens help you understand when you're looking at the numbers, not every customer is your customer. When we're talking about the people who want cheap services and cheap price, that come with cheap prices that can eventually be a pain in the butt for you. That second part of that question is when you're seeing the numbers, um, when you're seeing the numbers so you can fix the right things first. Do you look under the hood? How do you look under the hood of a stall business doing this? What is the most common financial blind spot or hidden profit leak you find in businesses when you're consulting? When you're sitting down with that business owner and teaching them how to grow with that CPA background, thinking how important of the line of sight financial control, how do you help them look under that hood of their stall business, and what is the most common financial blind spot or hidden profit leak that you help them to locate and understand why it's working like that for them?
I mean, yes, you're right. I have a long background in accounting and finance and received a CPA a long time ago. We look at leading, concurrent, and lagging indicators. Your income statement, your balance sheet, that's all lagging. So if that's the only thing you're looking at, you're driving by looking in the rearview mirror, literally. That's after the fact. Way up front is the leading indicators of the health of the business. Are you doing a lot of rework? Are customers complaining? If you see that number start to tick upward, then it's time to really start taking a look at what are we delivering and how well are we delivering it consistently. because complaints turn into lost customers, which turn into lost revenue. But if you're not watching these things out front and listening to the customer base, listening to the feedback as you're doing estimates, then you're going to have to wait until you get the lagging indicators. And sometimes the news is not what you want to hear. But if you're catching it early, you can save the relationships. You can adjust how you're delivering your services to new customers. And then the concurrent indicators are just what's happening with your staff. And it's, if you think in terms of mechanical terms, every business has a certain hum to it. And
Okay.
it's chatter that goes on between the staff and the managers. It's a typical pace of the phones ringing. And when that hum changes, then it's time to say, is this a good change, or is this something that maybe we need to make an adjustment? Not everything's a bad change. Some things in that should be good.
Mhm.
But if you're listening to that, if you're walking the floor, as let's say management by walking around, and you're out there and you see people, and is it the typical motions that you see, or is
Mm.
something different?
Okay.
Those little things can tell you a lot, even before it shows up in the financial numbers. That's the real leading and the real managing out front, so that you're protecting the numbers that land on eventually on your income statement and on your balance sheet. And you
Mm.
should know customer by customer. What does it take to deliver the complete service package to them?
Mhm.
Are your profits on each of those customers where they need to be?
Mm.
So
Okay. That
if I start delivering services in a less profitable way, I'm diluting my revenues. I'm working harder for less money in
for
the
less
end.
money. Mm. Mm.
If I'm winning customers where my profit margins are healthy, I'm protecting my profits. It's very easy to get caught up in revenue.
Mm.
But I have clients who have revenue and can't pay themselves, and they have a lot of revenue. I had one down
Mm.
in Garden, Florida, who had $600,000 in revenue and couldn't pay himself.
Oh,
His
wow.
pricing was all wrong, and
Mm.
his service delivery model was inefficient. So when we showed him where he needed to fix his pricing, it released $140,000 in profit. And when we
Wow.
showed him how to fix his service delivery model without compromising on the quality or the consistency, it released another 40 to 50,000 in profit.
Mm.
He should have been taking home a paycheck of 180,000 a year, is the bottom line from his business, but he didn't know how to release that profit and that cash into his own bank account.
Mm. He was very happy. I'm happy for him. Yeah, so it's not always well, from what I hear you say, it's to understand the health of our business, we have to understand every aspect, what it costs to get a new client, the people, I call it people equity part of delivering the service to the client. So if you don't have all of those front door pieces correct, you're going to see the result in your bottom line. That's either going to make you happy or unhappy. So if I'm getting these upfront parts correct, what I should see at the end of the day are numbers that make me happy. So the solution is not in the numbers. It can be, but the solution up front is in how we drive business with the people who we're teamed with, how we make our customers feel appreciated, underappreciated. Do they like the service that they're receiving? Do they like the product that they're receiving? So it once again, I hear you saying it comes back to the people that's being the most important driver of your business. The people who are your clients, or customers if you're a product-based business, as well as the people who are helping you to provide that product or service to that client. That's where your bread and butter is. and the nice cherry on top is the profit that you'll be making because these pieces up front are working properly. Is that what I hear you saying?
Yes, that's correct. And you can head off a problem up front before it shows up in the numbers on the back end. By the time it
Mm,
shows up in those numbers on the back end, you have some fixing to do.
mm,
But if you
okay.
notice, oh, there's a slight uptick in people in complaints about the work we're doing, or we're doing a little more rework than we typically do. Let's take a
Mhm,
look at how we're delivering our services. You can prevent it from ever hitting your income statement or your
mm.
profits at the end of the day. You're
That's
catching
real
it
good.
early.
Catching oh, that's real good. That's real good. You know, one of the other things that I know we're coming close to our time, but what I hear you also saying is your reputation, the business's reputation is the revenue driver. And you've done some
Absolutely.
amazing things. Go ahead.
Absolutely it is.
Mm. And
The
and your
cleaning business had about 200 Google reviews when I took over.
yes.
We now have
Yes.
1,200.
Right. That over yeah, over 1,000. That's and that was kind of where great minds think alike. Like that's exactly where I was going. Like you went from 200 Google reviews to well over 1,000, over 1,200 Google reviews. That absolutely created a reputation that helps to fuel the demand for your service. When people are Googling, you're definitely ranking and they're seeing you and they're reading the reviews. You know, so what is the secret to building that kind of operational consistency that turns your everyday customer into your most private marketer? Like your customers are your screaming advocates. They are your marketing, not all of it, but there's some important marketers for you. How did you do that? Yeah, how
We
did you do that?
we have a standardized process for delivering our services.
Mm,
When we inspect, that is literally the yardstick that we use to measure. Did we deliver
mm,
what we promised? If we
mm.
did not, then we fix it.
Okay.
As far as the
Okay.
Google reviews, we literally have little leave behinds. They're about a quarter sheet of paper that asks the customer to tell us how we did on the app, leave a Google
Mm.
review, and it even mentions that the cleaners will get a bonus if if they leave a Google review.
Oh, that's awesome.
If you
That's
ask
awesome.
for it, people will do it.
And you're helping to drive those extra cash incentives to those cleaners. Like you are an awesome, amazing business owner and supervisor. I know your people love you. I know your people love you. Look, I got two more things. I got two more things because I'm being yelled at that I am way over my time, and that's because I am. If I can get two more things,
Okay,
I
let's
love
do it.
my team. They keep me together. And so the two more things that I'd like to ask you about the TEDx vision. You've had the honor of sharing your ideas on the TEDx stage. And if you haven't seen it, guys, it's going to be in the show notes, and it's going to be one of the things that's pinned in the comments, so you guys can take a look at um, Todd's TEDx. So when you strip away the standard operating procedures and financial spreadsheets, what is the core message about human potential and leadership that you want the world to hear?
You can have a business where people bring their bodies to work and leave their minds and their hearts and souls at home. Yes, they'll get the work done. It'll be okay. Or you can show them that you see them as real people, complete people with everything that comes with a person. You can show them that you care about them, give them a positive place to work, recognize the culture that they bring, recognize the contribution to the culture of the company, and all of a sudden they will go the extra mile every time for you and for your customers. And your
Mhm.
business will just grow and grow and grow.
and grow. And my final question, I love that. I love that. That could actually be our toolbox takeaway, which is my final question. Um, Leave a tip, a tool. You've left many. I hope you guys have been writing amazing notes. You've left so many great tools. So if I can ask you that question, leave something else. Leave our audience with an actionable wisdom tool. Something they can put into immediate action. If a business owner is listening to you right now and they're feeling burned out, they're working too many hours, they're seeing the flat revenue, what is the one tool or strategy that feel that they need to pull out of their toolbox today to start turning things around in their business?
You got them right here. Your people are in the trenches. They know what it takes to get the work done. Talk to them. Ask them how we can make it better. Ask them what would help. Ask them what challenges they're encountering. In addition, ask them for ideas. You're hiring
Mm,
smart people. Let them
yeah,
help you
yeah.
grow your business. They are going to come up with ideas that you never thought of. And they'll come up with solutions that you're going to find are even better than what you thought of. Tap into what you've got right there every day at your fingertips, your people,
Wow.
and you're
That's
unstoppable.
wow. That is so wonderful. Um, Todd, I have so many other questions I can think of, but listen, guys, you've seen Todd's information flash on the screen. I hope you guys had an opportunity to share that, to get that QR code. But if you didn't, don't worry about it. If you're listening on audio, it's going to be included in the show notes. Definitely those that are joining us here on the live, that will be in our descriptions on YouTube as well as on LinkedIn. And it's also going to be in the comments on how you can connect with Todd to learn more about partnering with him. If you're a business owner and you're saying, all of this sounds amazing, I need to get on his calendar, we have the information for you in the show notes and in the comments to get on this calendar. If you're liking what you're hearing and you are a business owner that is curating stages, and Todd is the right person for you, his information is also going, that information on how to reach him for those speaking engagements will also be included. Just reach out to him, follow him on LinkedIn. He does some good content out there on LinkedIn as well. Guys, listen, Todd, thank you so much for joining us this evening on this amazing episode of LaQuita's Toolbox Live. Thank you to the viewers. If you're first time, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please return again. Until next time, I'm your host, LaQuita Monley. You guys be blessed and enjoy the amazing rest of your evening. Take care.
Thank you, LaQuita.
The Floyd McAllen Hope Center, a residential treatment facility for veterans dealing with substance abuse. It's a place where veterans who have been lost can find hope, where they can begin again. My name is Stephanie Twine. I'm the founder of the Floyd McAllen Hope Center. This will be a place of hope, a time to begin again. Visit fmchope.org to give, volunteer, or partner. Together, we can bring hope home.